بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, I truly apologize for the delay. Unfortunately, as you all saw, we could not get this presentation to be up and running. Inshallah, hopefully now, inshallah, we'll have a smooth sailing, inshallah, and we'll be able to explain everything, inshallah, in a concise and quick manner, inshallah. So we begin with the Umrah Seminar, inshallah, and this is, of course, presented by me. Both of these pictures, alhamdulillah, my wife took the first one and I took the second picture. This was in the Umrah we went in 2021, alhamdulillah, when it was during COVID. As you can see, people wearing masks. The wheelchair section was right next to the Kaaba as well. And so therefore, it was it was not congested in any way, alhamdulillah. It was very nice and very comfortable, alhamdulillah. Easily the best Umrah, alhamdulillah, till date. Anyways, moving on. In this past Jummah, alhamdulillah, we spoke about the virtues of Umrah. We spoke about the hadith related to the virtues of Umrah. And so I'll just mention one hadith where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says that تابعوا بين الحج والعمرة فإنهما ينفعان الفقر والذنوب كما ينفي الكير خبث الحديد. Hadith. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says that you should follow one Hajj after another. Follow one Umrah after another. فَإِنَّهُمَا يَنْفِيَانِ الْفَقْرَ وَالذُّنُوبِ. That these going for Hajj and Umrah repeatedly, this removes poverty, faqr, and it removes sins. Right? These two remove poverty and sins, just as the blacksmith or the bellows, it removes the rust on iron. So you know how, like, for example, the blacksmith, whatever the procedures are, they help to remove the rust from the iron. Similarly, going for Hajj and Umrah, this expiates the sins. Not only that, Allah Ta'ala puts barakah in your wealth, to the extent that you're able to financially recover from whatever journey you've gone through as well. So this is a wonderful blessing of Allah Ta'ala, to be able to go for Umrah. And of course, Allah Ta'ala definitely will reward you tremendously for going. So this is just one hadith. There are many hadith on this topic of going for Hajj and Umrah. I will skip through these because I want to continue on, inshallah. So we'll move straight into the preparations of the Umrah, inshallah, what we should do. Now, this is divided into two types of preparations. One is the ukhrawi preparations, meaning one is the preparations of the akhirah, the preparations that you need to do in your relation to Allah Ta'ala. So whatever you need to do, inshallah, we'll talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the dunyawi preparations, right? So the ukhrawi preparations, the first and foremost, we must understand that this is a privileged religious journey, right? That number one, privileged, meaning what? Not everyone has the ability to go. Not everyone is able to go for this journey. Many people, many people, they want to go, but for whatever reason, Allah Ta'ala hasn't given them the opportunity. Just this week, one brother, mashallah, he just came back from Umrah. And mashallah, he's probably well into his 50s, mashallah. He has kids, mashallah, and he took two of his kids with him, mashallah. But this is his first time going for Umrah, mashallah. And despite his entire life, he hasn't had the opportunity to go. And now he's saying that now that I've gone, I don't know what made me wait so long. And I don't know why I delayed so much. And this is the reality, that once you go there, and I told him, I said, listen, once you go there, a piece of you remains there. And you just keep urging and you keep wanting to go back, right? And so therefore, it's important that we understand this, that it's a privileged journey. Not everyone is able to go. Some people, they're not able to go because of finances. Other people, they're not able to go because of health reasons. Many reasons, unfortunately, people are not given the opportunity to go. In Urdu, they say bulawa, meaning like you're being called to go, right? Meaning it's not that you can go, but rather it's that Allah Ta'ala will call you and allow you to go. So this is the difference, right? And so, number one, we understand that it's a privileged and it's a religious journey. It's not a sightseeing journey. It's not a journey to go and, yes, you will see sights. You will see important historical sites in Islam. But that's not the purpose of the journey. The purpose of the journey is to build our relationship with Allah Ta'ala and to continue and fulfill our responsibility on us. Right? And so this is number one. Right? That's a privileged, it's a religious journey. Number two, before we go, we should all pray 2 rak'at Salatul Haja. Salatul Haja means the salah of need, right? Meaning asking Allah Ta'ala. Asking, by the way, you all can come to this side also. There's a lot of space here. There's a lot of space on this side, and the TV is much bigger as well, right? So if you want, you can come on this side or you can go on that side, whichever side is easier for you, inshallah. But nonetheless, praying Salatul Haja. You should pray Salatul Haja, and you should try and ensure that you are religiously preparing for the journey, right? Ask Allah Ta'ala, beg Allah Ta'ala, because the reality is the journey may be very difficult. There are many people who they go there, they become very sick. Some people for whatever reason they're not able to perform the journey, right? And by the way, I'll talk about mistakes throughout. There's one brother that I met this year. He told me I wanted to do Umrah. I put my ihram on and I went, and then I was not able to do tawaf, so I came back. That's it. Meaning he was in that entire state. He went there, he had his ihram on, but the timing was too short. He was not able to make the Umrah. And it was a layover, right? It was a layover, so he only had a couple of hours. And so he was not able to complete the Umrah and he had to leave, right? And this is very difficult, right? And so it's important that we understand that we must turn to Allah Ta'ala. We must ask Allah Ta'ala for afiyah, for ease and comforts in that journey, and that Allah Ta'ala facilitates the journey for us. The third, right? This is actually this should have been in the it's ukhrawi and a dunyawi preparation. There's an app. It's called Halal Trip. This app is called Halal Trip. I mentioned it today after Fajr as well. Basically, this app, what it does is it calculates the salah timings, in-flight prayer times it has. So you input, for example, the airport that you're departing from, and you put the arrival airport, and you put the timings, and they calculate which direction is Qibla and what time the salah will be. So it's a very important app that I highly recommend every single person should download. I've been using it for years, alhamdulillah, and no one is paying me to say this, but this is a very good app, mashallah. I highly recommend you do this, especially because sometimes you have multiple prayers, whether going or coming. Sometimes you have multiple prayers. This is a very good app to calculate the salawat, inshallah. That's the ukhrawi preparations. Moving on, we'll talk about the dunyawi preparations. Now, I'm not going to talk about underwear and like all these other things. You of course, none of you are first-time flyers, right? This is not the first time you're flying. And so therefore, you understand the basic things that you need to prepare for. Aside from the basic things, I always give these recommendations. Number one, take a converter. Don't just take the outlet, but make sure the outlet is also a converter. So it converts the voltage from whatever the voltage is in that country, in whichever country you're going to, and it converts to the local, the one that you're able to use in your phone and so on. Otherwise, there may be short circuits or anything like that. So therefore, make sure you take a converter. You can easily find one, inshallah, online. If you need any recommendations, just text me. There are many good ones on Amazon, which will come within one or 2 days. So even if you order it by today, for example, it will come by Monday, Tuesday, inshallah, right? So make sure you buy this. It's very important. Get a converter. The second thing, and also along with the converter, I highly recommend also getting a power bank. Power bank, that way you can also travel very easily with it. The second thing, proper footwear, right? So many people, they complain about this, right? They say that, oh, I only brought chappals, right? Some people, they only bring like sandals. Or what they do is they bring very expensive sneakers, very expensive shoes. And so now they're afraid to leave their shoes anywhere. Why? Because it's like, if I leave my shoes somewhere, I'll lose it or something happens. And now they're worrying more about the shoes than the actual salah and the ibadah that they're supposed to do, right? So make sure, yes, you should take comfortable footwear, but don't it shouldn't be so expensive. It shouldn't be so, it shouldn't be consuming your mind that you're constantly thinking about that. But rather, it should be proper footwear, comfortable, but not so expensive. Moving on, a bag for shoes or sandals, those little string bags, always very helpful. And Alhamdulillah, our travel agency gives these for free as well, alhamdulillah. So this is very good. Take a small little bag, especially when you're going for tawaf, when you're entering the haram, it's very important. Why? Because sometimes you enter through one door and you come out from an entirely different door. So now if you're leaving your shoes, and this happened actually, one of the umrahs we did, some people, they left their shoes at the entrance of the haram. And now they left it in one door and you come out an entirely different door. When you come out of Safa Marwa, you're coming out from an entirely different gate. So then they have to go all the way around and try to get those shoes again. Right? And so therefore, very simply, take a bag for a simple small bag for shoes and sandals, some petty cash, a couple hundred, 1 or 200 riyals. And also you can put your phone in that bag also. And we'll talk about what you can wear while in the Sir Ihram, inshallah. We'll talk about that, inshallah. Also, lastly, SIM cards. If you have, for example, T-Mobile, which is very helpful, I'm not sponsored by T-Mobile, but it's very helpful, mashallah. If you can use it, globally, you can use it for free. And like, for example, when I go for Umrah, even when I go to Bangladesh now, I don't change my SIM. I use the same SIM from T-Mobile, mashallah, and I'm able to use WhatsApp very easily, alhamdulillah. So I highly recommend, if you are looking to changing your carriers, go into T-Mobile. It's very helpful globally. When you're traveling, it helps a lot. Also, credit cards. Do not travel with debit cards. And these are like common sense, logical things. Don't travel with debit cards because debit your money on it, right? If someone takes your debit card, they can easily swipe and that money is gone. Whereas credit card, if you lose, and you should take 1 or 2 credit cards, by the way, just in case you lose one, you have a second one as a backup. But even then, if you lose a credit card, what happens? You just call the bank and you say, I lost my credit card. Automatically, they'll cancel everything and they'll cancel the card as well. So it's very simple, and if you have a backup credit card, you can alternate between the two. Right? So this I highly recommend. Either, for example, if you're traveling with your wife, then it's okay. She has one credit card, you have the other credit card, for example. If you are traveling alone, then just be careful. Maybe put one credit card inside the luggage, inside the hotel, for example. Generally, the hotels are safe, right? It's not like, back in the days where the hotels are like cheap hotels. No, these are like 5-star hotels generally we go to. And so they're generally very safe. Within the rooms, they generally also have another safe. You can easily put the stuff, the private stuff inside there. Just don't forget it. Last thing I need is you calling me from there saying, you told me to put in the safe and now I forgot it in the safe. So what am I supposed to do, right? So please don't forget things inside your hotel. But my recommendation is, if you're traveling as a family, take 2 credit cards if you can. Don't take debit card and cash. Don't take so much cash, but take some cash. Make sure you take some cash because you will always need cash, right? Somewhere, how you will need to exchange some things. And generally, when you're traveling internationally, it's better to take $100 bills and the new $100 bills, right? Because you'll get a few riyals more. That's all it is, right? If you take 20s, you'll get a lower exchange rate. But if you take the crisp $100 bills, they'll give you a better rate. And so don't take, $10,000. Obviously, you'll have to declare all of that. I mean, it's up to you. But take a small amount that you can use. Generally, if you go to Makkah and Medina, most places, besides the small shops, even the small shops, many of them accept credit card. Many of them accept Visa and all of these things. So if you take a normal credit card, inshallah, you should be okay. But take some cash because you will need some emergency cash. You never know what's going to happen. And if you're traveling with a group, inshallah, I mean, generally you'll be safe. You can rely on one another in case something bad happens. Inshallah, nothing will happen. But if something does happen, you can do that. But as I said, credit card, don't take a debit card. And I'm not going to go into the fatwa of credit cards. The fatwa, very simply, if you can afford to pay off the monthly payments, it's okay. If you cannot afford to pay off the monthly payments, you cannot take a credit card. Okay, so use the credit card as a debit card, basically, but with the added benefits of the credit card. Moving on, we're going to go quickly into the ihram, because this is the bulk. This is where most people make mistakes. The vast majority of people make mistakes in regards to the ihram. So, ihram. The first is tahara, right? The best is to do ghusl. If you can, it's sunnah to do ghusl before wearing. This is before the ihram, right? Before wearing the clothes of ihram. So just to understand that I'm getting there. Please, don't, I'll explain inshallah. So basically, it's all there. The thing is there. As I was saying, ihram is not the clothing. Many people, they think ihram is clothing, but ihram is the state. Ihram is a state in which you are in, right? And so therefore, the clothing are just the requirements. These are the clothes that you're allowed to wear for ihram, right? So we'll go through it. So before you enter into the state of ihram, you should do tahara, meaning if you can do ghusl. If you cannot do ghusl, then you should do wudu. Even that is not a requirement. You don't have to do wudu. You don't have to do ghusl, but you should do ghusl. You should do wudu. If it's fard for you to do ghusl, then of course you need to do ghusl. But other than that, it's just sunnah to do ghusl. Next, to wear the appropriate clothes and sandals. The appropriate clothes for us, right? For women are much more flexible in this regard. They're allowed to wear any type of clothing. But generally, women wear very loose, black, darker clothing, right? Generally, right? But they're allowed to wear any type of clothing. They're not allowed to cover their face. That's the main requirement. They're not allowed to cover their face. But other than that, they can wear any type of clothing that they like to wear. So, for example, women can wear shoes. Women can wear anything that they want to wear. They can wear. But men, this is where men it's more difficult. We are not allowed to wear any stitched clothing. Men cannot wear any stitched clothing, right? So, for example, you cannot wear shoes. You cannot wear t-shirts. You cannot wear. Believe me, even this past, someone came to me and said, "Can we not wear underwear?" I said, "No, you cannot wear underwear." And they didn't know this. There are many questions people don't know the answer to. So you cannot wear underwear. Men cannot wear underwear. Men cannot wear any stitched clothing. You must wear simple sheets of clothing. So the ihram cloth, which we know as, generally there are two sheets of clothing, one for the lower garment and one for the upper garment. That's permissible to wear. And that's important for men. Also, for men, we cannot wear shoes. Women can wear shoes, right? So, and again, so many things, how can Islam be misogynistic, right? How is it possible? Because so many benefits for women, right? Anyways, so women can wear shoes, men cannot wear shoes. Men must wear sandals that expose the bone that's in the center of their foot. You see this bone right here? The center bone on in the middle of your foot, that bone must be exposed. So basically flip-flops. You can wear flip-flops. You cannot wear, those covered sandals like the Crocs and other things. You cannot wear those. I had another brother contact me. Again, if I just tell you the amount of people that contact me while going there or while they're there. One brother, he called me, or he texted me. I think he was on his way, and he said, I left my sandal, I left my chappals, I left my flip-flops in my luggage, my actual checked-in luggage. So what should I do? So I said, okay, fine. You can wear your shoes, but you have to give sadaqah afterwards. So he texted me back later, and he says, he read my message later. He said, I ended up just walking barefoot from the airplane. So he walked barefoot from the airplane to his luggages, and then once he got his luggages, then he'd open his luggage, then he took out his sandals, and then he wore those sandals. And so, I mean, if we don't know, then these are the mistakes that we will make, right? So therefore, please make sure you are purchasing. What I recommend is, for example, what I did, like 3-4 years ago, I bought one good pair of Crocs. The flip-flop Crocs, don't buy the cheap ones, right? Buy some good, decent chappals, buy some good, decent flip-flops. For example, I bought some Crocs, and alhamdulillah, every single Umrah that I've been doing with those same sandals. The same exact sandals I've been wearing for the past 3-4 years, alhamdulillah. It's very simple, it's very easy to wash, right? Crocs are very simple, right? So not the covered Crocs. Understand, not the covered Crocs, the Crocs that are just like flip-flops where the center bone is exposed. Okay, inshallah. That's any questions so far? Those who are online, you can text. Those in person can ask. Ji.
You mentioned should be open. There are socks at Walmart or Amazon.
You cannot wear socks. You cannot wear socks. I just said you cannot.
And you cannot skip. Material in the bottom.
You cannot wear socks because they're stitched. Socks are stitched clothing. You cannot wear stitched clothing. Okay, so I mentioned that before already. You cannot wear. No cap. You cannot wear topi, whatever, nothing. You cannot wear that at all. No stitched clothing. No stitched clothing should touch your body, essentially. Okay, so no cap, no socks, no chaddis, nothing. Okay, none of that, nothing else. Okay, all right, moving on. So, any other questions? I'm keeping it a bit entertaining because it's like
Another thing,
one by one, one by one. Yes,
many people don't cover the satar,
yes, I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I haven't touched it yet. Come this side. You can see the screen. Please, please come closer. Otherwise, you can't see the screen because miqat is number 4 on this list. Same page. I haven't left the page yet. Right. Anyways. Yes.
Make sure your bottom stay on. You wear a belt.
Yes, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Yes. Yes. I'm not done. You know what? No more questions. Let's leave it at that. No more questions until we get to the place where I've covered. After I'm done, then you can ask whatever questions. But inshallah, you'll see most of your questions, I will answer most of them, inshallah. Let's go through it. No questions, inshallah. Praying 2 rak'at. So, praying 2 rak'at before starting ihram is sunnah. Some people, they think it's wajib, fard. No, it's only sunnah, right? So, for example, the way you do ghusl, you put the clothes of ihram on, and then you pray 2 rak'at, and then sunnah to pray those 2 rak'at. You should recite قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Very simple. First rak'ah قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. Second rak'ah قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Right? Then miqat boundaries. Right? Everyone is asking about miqat boundaries. After that, you can go into the miqat. You can go into the boundaries. Miqat means boundaries, right? Then you can go into the boundaries of the haram. Essentially, there are 5 boundaries, right? Now, for us, you don't have to know all the different names of the boundaries. All you need to know for us who are traveling is when you're flying into Jeddah, you must wear ihram before you land. If you're flying through Saudi or something else, they will tell you that we are nearing the miqat of Jeddah. Please, they'll tell you like 1 hour before. They'll say, in 1 hour, we're going to enter into the miqat. So please put your ihram on. My suggestion, you know what I did? Last year, what we did is we were flying from Turkey. And by the way, my recommendation always, if you can, go to Medina first. If you can, go to Medina first and then go to Makkah. Otherwise, if you're going to Makkah first, then you'll have to put on ihram before you land on the plane or before that, and it's hard. So what we did in Turkey is I put the lower garment on and then I just put a jacket on top. Even though it's stitched, but I wasn't in the state of ihram. I just put the jacket on. And then when we got close to the miqat, I took off my jacket. Then I put the other top part of the ihram on. And then I made the intention and I got into the state of ihram, right? So you can do that. It's just a bit more uncomfortable. So my recommendation, if you can, go to Medina first. And you get used to the environment. You get used to the time difference. You get used to everything. And then you can slowly get into Makkah. And from Makkah to Medina, from Medina to Makkah, it's easier. To put the ihram on in Medina, it's much easier than having to fly internationally from Turkey. Even from Turkey, Turkey is very close. Even then, it's still uncomfortable. Okay, you too, please leave the masjid or sit there, but comfortably, please. All right, so miqat boundaries. Believe me, I'll tell you, there was a family, they were going for Umrah this past year. Again, half of the Quran, right? Like they're like considered a religious family. Even they did not know that you must put your ihram on before landing in Jeddah. So they were planning, we're going to land in Jeddah, then we're going to put the ihram on and everything. It's a big mistake, right? Now, if you ask me, from Jeddah to Makkah is about an hour drive, yes? If Saudi government asks me, I would say move the airport outside of the miqat. Move it another 20 minutes, half an hour. If you do that, people can land nicely, comfortably, get relaxed there, and then they can drive. Another half an hour is no big deal of driving. But putting your ihram on from Turkey or from IAD is very difficult. So if Saudi government asks me, which they're not going to ask me, but obviously if they were to ask me, I would say move the airport a few miles outside of the miqat. And literally, Jeddah is just within the miqat. Just as soon as the miqat enters, then Jeddah is right there. So it doesn't make sense to me. But that's the reality, that Jeddah is within the miqat. So you must be in the state of ihram before you land in Jeddah. Okay? Everyone is clear? No questions. All right. So next, now how to get into the state of ihram. Ihram is very simple. Ihram, to get into the state of ihram. Again, remember, ihram is not clothing. Ihram is the state, the physical state that you are in. So there are two things that you must do. Number one is you must make intention, and number two, you must recite talbiyah. This is the two requirements of ihram. Once you make intention and you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata lak wal mulk la sharika lak. This is it. You are now in the state of ihram. If you're wearing a t-shirt and pants, you're responsible. Right? Yes, you're in the state of ihram. So if you are wearing a t-shirt and pants, you're responsible. Right? So you must make sure that you are wearing the proper clothing before you make the intention and before you say the talbiyah. Okay, so you make the intention. Intention can be in Bangla, in English, in Arabic, Urdu, whichever language you want to make it in. You don't have to say it out loud. Just make it in your mind that I make intention for ihram. Right? If you want to say it if you want to say it out loud, you can say it out loud, no issues. But you don't need to say it out loud. Okay? And then talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, this you can say audibly, you can say a bit loudly. Okay? Men should say audibly, women should say silently. Okay? And the talbiyah is there on the screen. If you want, you can take a picture. Otherwise, you can Google it and you'll find it anywhere. Okay? This is how to get into the state of ihram. Now, what is forbidden and what is allowed in ihram? So, the first, sins and fighting. Of course, sins are always prohibited. But specifically, while you are in the state of ihram, it's worse. It's worse to do sins while you're there. Right? As I mentioned, so many people, they waste so much time while they're there and they do so many different haram things. May Allah Ta'ala save us all. I mean, it's very dangerous, right? So while you are in the state of ihram, just be very careful. Have a lot of patience, have a lot of sabr, and control yourself. Don't allow anything to upset you, or even if it upsets you, just swallow it. Okay? Don't fight with anyone. If the flight is delayed, if there's no food, just relax and keep it, keep it easy. If you're going on a long journey, this is a spiritual journey, don't burden or don't make it a means of azab for yourself and others. Number one, this is haram. Number two, intimacy. You cannot be intimate with your spouse. You cannot be intimate with your spouse, and that's also haram, and we know what that means. Number three, fragrances. No type of fragrances are allowed while you are in the state of ihram. Okay? While you are in the state of ihram, you cannot put any type of fragrance allowed. No type of fragrance is allowed. Okay, this includes the soap that's inside the hotel bathrooms. Many people don't even think about that, but the reality is the soap is scented soap. It's scented soap. So if you use that, you have to give money. You have to give sadaqah, meaning you have to pay the expiation. So please be careful. In the state of ihram, you cannot use any type of scents. You cannot do any type of fragrances. Even if you're touching the Kaaba, for example, if the Kaaba has scents on it and it comes on your hand, then you must also give sadaqah for that as well. I'll explain what is sadaqah. Don't stress. I will explain. I will get to it, inshallah. Right? But essentially, no type of fragrances either. Next is you cannot remove any body hair, any nails. You cannot do any of that. Right? If something falls off by itself, it's okay. But you should not go scratching your beard or like pulling your hair or anything like that. Don't comb your hair and other things, because if you comb, obviously, the hair will fall off. So therefore, don't comb or don't do any of those things while you are in the state of ihram. If it falls by itself, it's okay. If it falls by itself, leave it, but don't do it yourself. You cannot kill lice. You cannot kill any animals generally. You cannot cut or damage grass or trees or anything like that. You cannot damage anything. You cannot hurt anything. This is very important, right? So don't swat flies and try to squish the fly. No. Just leave the flies. Leave everything as they are. This is a sacred area, right? But you can kill dangerous insects and animals. You are allowed to kill dangerous. Let's see. Somehow you see like a snake or scorpion. Inshallah, you won't, right? But if you do, then you are allowed to kill it. My recommendation is just tell one of the security guards, and they'll take care of it. Okay. So scorpions, snakes, mosquitoes, and so on. Those are permissible to kill. Thereafter, you have what can men do, what can men not do, and what can women not do. So men cannot wear stitched clothing, as I mentioned, no type of thing. And so they cannot cover your head, you cannot cover your face, right? So for example, I'll go into masks, I'll get into masks, but anything, you cannot wear anything to cover your face or your head. So no topi, nothing else, all right? And also men must wear footwear that's, men cannot wear footwear that's covering their instep. Instep meaning the bone, the center bone on your foot, as I mentioned, right? The center bone on top of your foot, that's the instep. Okay, so men cannot wear these clothing or wear those socks or shoes or anything like that. Women, the only thing they cannot do is they cannot cover their face. So for example, let's say you do want to wear a mask, for example, right? If you do want to wear a mask, and if you wear it for less than 12 hours, if you wear a mask for less than 12 hours, then you'll have to give sadaqah, okay? If you wear it more than 12 hours, then you have to give dam, right? So basically what? 12 hours is like, I mean, the entire night, for example. You're in the state of ihram and you just keep the mask on the entire night, which is uncommon, very uncommon, right? Generally, people don't do this. So sometimes people want to wear masks. If you do wear a mask, it's against what you're supposed to do, but technically, you just give sadaqah and that's sufficient. Okay? Now, what is permissible? What can you do? Number one, you can shower. Many people don't know this. You can shower. Just use water. Don't use soap. Don't use Head and Shoulders. Don't use body wash. None of that. Just use water and wash your body. Okay? You can use unscented soap. So if you want, you can buy some unscented soap. You can take that and you can use that as well. Okay? You can get injections as well, right? You are allowed to take injections. Some people, for medical reasons, they have to take injections. So you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to use miswak. You're allowed to use brush. But if you use toothpaste, it's considered makruh, right? It's considered makruh if you use toothpaste. But you don't have to give sadaqah, you don't have to give them nothing. You can use toothpaste, it's just disliked. You should ideally not use toothpaste while in the state of ihram. Because technically you're spitting it out, but it was still in your mouth. That flavor was still in your mouth. And so that's why it's makruh. Just as if you use flavorful toothpaste while you're fasting, it's makruh tahrimi. Similarly, it's also makruh if you're in the state of ihram using toothpaste. So you can do as use other toothpaste, the natural toothpaste. You can use those toothpaste or just brush without the toothpaste. You can, of course, use miswak. You can wear rings, right? So just explaining, you can wear rings, you can wear glasses, you can wear even sunglasses, and so on. Okay, you can wear all of these things. All right, you can wear watches, you can wear belts, you can wear bags. Okay, so you can wear a watch, you can wear a belt, right? To help, sometimes the bottom ihram falls off. So therefore, you can put the belt on. You should wear a belt, and then you can have like a small pouch. That way, you can like put like some like few riyals to shave your head and stuff like that. In case of emergency, you can put some. Maybe you can even put your phone in there. Maybe. So that's also fine. And of course, you can wear a bag. As I mentioned, the bag. It's best to have that bag. Put the bag on, and if you can put it in the front or the back, whatever it is, but make sure it's closed properly. And then just put like simple things, just your phone, for example, in case of emergency, and a couple of riyals or something, sandals or something else, just simple things. Don't take your passport. Do not take your passport. Don't take thousands of dollars. Don't do all of this. Right? This is against logic. Rather, travel when you're going for ihram, for umrah specifically. Just very simply, yes, keep your passport, keep everything in the luggage, keep that in the room, and inshallah it will remain safe. Right? All right, moving on. Bandages, you can put bandages on. You got some cut or something, you're bleeding, you can put a bandage on and something. You can wear blankets, right? So you can wear a blanket, just don't cover your face. Do not cover your face, do not cover your head. But you can wear a blanket that's like covering the rest of your body. Okay? And then you can use an umbrella. If you are, doing umrah during the day, it's very hot, you can use an umbrella, right? Okay. Now, questions. I'll take some questions now. Any questions that I did not answer? No, I'm not sharing this presentation. Yes.
You mentioned the family that they forgot to put the ram when they got together. So let's say if they made a mistake, they know that they have to put the ram when they enter the miqat. So when they are at Jeddah, what they have to do?
So if you're in Jeddah, if you land in Jeddah without ihram, you must leave the miqat, travel outside of the miqat, and then come back wearing the ihram.
Is that Masjid Aisha?
No, that's not Masjid Aisha. Masjid Aisha, look, Masjid Aisha is the miqat for the people who are inside Makkah. If you're coming from outside of Makkah, your miqat are the other boundaries. And if you ask any taxi driver, they'll know all of this. You ask them, take me to the closest miqat, they will take you to the closest miqat. Masjid Aisha is only the miqat for the people who are already inside Makkah. So you finish Umrah. After you finish Umrah, you're technically considered as a resident of Makkah at this moment. And so therefore, you will only have to go to Masjid Aisha and then come back. But someone who, for example, is coming from Virginia, flying into Jeddah, you must have your ihram before you land into Jeddah. If you don't have your ihram on, then you will have to leave and drive outside of the miqat and then come back into the miqat with the ihram. Otherwise, you'll have to pay penalties. And it's a lot.
But you unknowingly step on the
Unknowingly is different. We're talking about knowingly. It's good if you give something, but it's not necessary. Yes, good question, right? So if you land in Jeddah, it's okay. Because you're not going for Umrah directly, you're going to Medina, you don't have to put ihram on. Yes, when you're going to Makkah, you would put the ihram on in Medina, and then you would take the bus, train, car, whatever you're doing.
at one age with the breast.
Once they're baligh, once a child is baligh, meaning they have, they're mature, meaning they see like the dream, or they're growing older now. So for boys, it's between the age of 12 to 15. So anytime between the age of 12 to 15, if they see a wet dream, then they automatically become baligh. For girls, it's from the age of 9 to 15. So meaning, if a boy or a girl automatically reaches 15, they're automatically considered baligh. Right? So before 15, maybe if they see that dream and stuff, then they become baligh. But and you guys know what I'm talking about when I say dream, right? So a girl can become baligh from the age of 9 to anywhere until 15.
I'll do that walk. Is it a mandatory or?
Sorry?
I'll do that walk.
I think that's talk. We'll get to talk later. I'm just talking about ihram stuff right now. Yes.
There's one thing I would like to share with the brothers. 15 years ago, when I did the first Umrah, a long time ago, and I landed Jeddah, I put my ihram, I did the Umrah, but somebody told me you have to talk to the sheikh sitting at the Kaaba cubicle.
No. We have a lot more to finish. We have to finish
No,
the
I
first.
think at the time he's asked me to go and slaughter the animal outside the city of Makkah, and I did that, slaughter the animal.
Okay. Again, that's not a question. Only ask questions right now, please. Moving on. In Makkah, what should you do? In Makkah, as soon as you get to Makkah, right, you should rest. Make sure you eat some food, get ready, because this is not a small journey, right? The Umrah is going to take like 3 hours, more or less about 3 hours. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. If you're doing it alone, shorter. But if you're doing with family, it'll take longer. So make sure you eat enough food. Make sure you have slept, right? Make sure you have enough energy to do it, right? So that's number one. Rest up. That's the first. You don't have to do Umrah immediately as soon as you get to Makkah. You don't have to do that. If you get to Makkah and you're exhausted, relax, sleep a little bit, then go later on. Otherwise, you will get sick, right? And you don't want to get sick. It's better that you rest, relax, and then once you have food and everything, then go nicely and comfortably and do the Umrah properly. Number one. Second, consider doing Umrah at night time. Umrah at night is generally easier, right? Because it's not burning hot outside, and also sometimes there are less people. Generally families go during the day so that the kids can sleep at night and stuff as well. All in all, my recommendation is to go at night. Obviously, there's no time that you'll find no one there. Every single second, there's hundreds of thousands of people there minimum, right? So therefore, there's no like ideal time, right? If anything, my recommendation is around 2 a.m. This is my recommendation. Around 2 a.m., I found that this is a good time because around 3 to 4 a.m., that's when people come for tahajjud and they come for all of that. So that's a bit too late. And so if you can, my recommendation, immediately after Isha, go to sleep for 3 hours, right? For example, from Isha's 8 o'clock, for example, then you finish Isha, go immediately to the hotel and go to sleep, have some food if you need to. And after that, sleep for like 3-4 hours, sleep until like 1 o'clock, for example, 12-1, and then take the taxi to Masjid Aisha and come back. And by 2 o'clock, try to start the Umrah. And by 4:30, inshallah, you'll be done, and you can start Fajr. You can catch Fajr in that area, in the masjid. Right? That's my recommendation. If you want to go 2 p.m., by all means, that's up to you, right? Now, you're entering masjid, the haram. Enter very humbly. Right? Enter very humbly. Give me a water, please. Enter very humbly, respectfully. Enter with all of your du'as, right? Make sure that you recite whatever, all the du'as, Allahumma ftahli abwaba rahmatik, and so on. Whatever du'as, recite all of them and enter very respectfully, right? And then at the same time, the fourth is that you make dua. As soon as you see the Kaaba, you should make dua, right? So like you keep your gaze down a little bit until you get to the Kaaba, until you get to like some comfortable place. You get into the mataf area and then move to the side and then look at the Kaaba, right? So some people, they have a misconception. They say that du'as are only accepted at that time. That's not the case. Du'as are always accepted at in that area. So it's not the first glance. Every glance, du'as are accepted. But the first glance, it's very emotional. And like, so that's why many people, for example, Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmatullah alayh, at the first glance, he would make dua that, oh Allah, accept all of my du'as. This is like if someone were to give you 3 wishes, what would you ask for? The first wish is, give me a million, unlimited wishes. Yes, basically. That's exactly what Imam Abu Hanifa is basically saying. That the first dua is, oh Allah, accept all of my du'as. Yeah, so that's how I recommend. So this is what you should do. Moving on, this is just a picture of the Kaaba. Many of you have seen it, but this is just a depiction of the Kaaba, the black stone, the hatim that's there, that's supposed to be part of the Kaaba, but it's obviously, you have a small area where you can make lines and go pray there also. You should take your time, get in line, and then pray in that area. Basically, you're praying inside the Kaaba, right? And then you have the different door, and you have the Maqam Ibrahim, and so on and so forth. Many of you should understand it. A couple important things. You see where it says Yemeni corner, right? This is very important. This right here, can you guys see my arrow? This Yemeni corner, and then this Hajar Aswad, this black stone. This area, remember this area. Okay, remember this last cubic section, or this last wall. Remember, I'll come back to it, inshallah. Okay. Now we're going to talk about tawaf. As we get into tawaf is compulsory part of Umrah, right? This is necessary. You must do tawaf. And how is tawaf? Basically, to walk around the Kaaba. What's the definition? To walk around the Kaaba 7 times, right? 1, 2, 3, and you get to 7 times basically. It's wajib to be in the state of wudu, meaning you must be in the state of wudu, right? So at any point, if you break your wudu, what happens? You stop where you are. Remember where you are. For example, you're in tawaf you're in circuit number 3, for example, and you are here. Go and renew your wudu, and then come back and just restart that circuit. Start again from that 3rd tawaf. Okay, makes sense? So basically, anywhere you lose your wudu, you just restart from that same circuit again. You begin from Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone, as I explained it, as you all know, right? Talbiyah ends with the start of tawaf. You keep saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik. You keep saying that over and over and over and over until you get to the tawaf area. Until you're about to start tawaf, then you stop talbiyah. You stop your talbiyah, and then men should do ittiba'. Ittiba' is basically you uncover your right arm, right? You uncover only your right arm. Now, don't take off everything. This is your right arm, and you put the cloth over your left shoulder. That is how you do ittiba'. Okay. So now, how do you do? What are the steps for tawaf? Number one, you make intention. Right? You make intention, and as I said, you don't. It's not necessary to make it verbally. You can make the intention in your mind. Number two, you stand in line with Hajj al-Aswad. You look at, you stand. So Hajj al-Aswad is on your left side. It should be on your left side, and you're standing in line with it. Yes, you may not get exactly. Just take a few steps behind. Just just behind the Hajj al-Aswad line, basically, right? And generally, you can see it. Obviously, you can see the line, right? And then you do istiqbal. You turn towards the Hajj al-Aswad and you do istilam. Okay? You turn towards Hajj al-Aswad and you do istilam. What is istilam? Istilam is that you raise your palms towards the Hajj al-Aswad and you say, Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. Okay? Let me see if I can move this thing. No, I can't move it. So, all right, so basically, you face towards the Hajj al-Aswad and you say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. You raise your hands and you kiss your palms. Okay, you kiss your palms. Now you don't need to like make out with your hand, right? Just a soft kiss. And you don't have to make the noise. Don't make the noise. Just soft kiss of your palm. That's it. You don't have to like do anything else. Just raise your palms towards the Hajj al-Aswad and then kiss your palms. All right. And you do this, istilam will be done 8 times. You'll do it 8 times. 1 in the beginning, and then after each circuit, essentially. And so altogether, it'll be 8 times. So at the beginning of each round, you'll do it, and at the end of the 7th round, you'll also do it. So that totals 8 times. Yes. All right. Moving on. All right. It's sunnah for men to do ramal. Ramal is basically walking for the first 3 rounds to walk a bit with strength and vigor, to walk, strongly, to show. Like this was done to show the might of the Muslim Ummah. But if you're traveling with your wife, with your mother, you don't need to show anyone's strength. Okay, you can walk normally and walk with your mother, walk with your wife, and you walk normally. You don't have to do ramal. It's a sunnah. If you can do it, if you cannot do it, don't worry about it. Okay, and then you recite Quran, do dhikr, make dua, right? The entire tawaf, you make dua, you make dhikr, you recite Quran. My recommendation, many people, what they do is they take these dua booklets and they read Arabic duas, and they have no idea what they're reading. They're just reading Arabic. Again, which is good, mashallah, but it's not as good as if you prepare your own duas. Say your own duas to Allah. Speak to Allah Ta'ala in your own language. In your own language, speak to Allah Ta'ala. Whichever language you're comfortable with. And so in the first, for example, in the first tawaf, you'll do, I'll make dua myself. Second tawaf, I'll make dua my wife. Third circuit, I'll make dua for my kids. Fourth, I'll make dua for my mother and father. Fifth, I'll make dua for my extended family. Sixth, I'll make dua for my community. Seventh, I'll make dua for the ummah, for example. But you should plan it like this. This is how you should plan it. That these 7 circuits, this is how I will make dua. And that way you know which number am I on? Oh, I'm making dua for my extended family, so I'm on number 5, for example. Right? And this is how you remember. Is there any doors open or something? Kind of cold, no? Anyways, so just make sure that there are no windows or doors open. Check maybe here also. I'm not sure. No, outside. I'm thinking here. It's closed. Okay, alhamdulillah. That's good. It's good. Okay. Alhamdulillah. All right. So going back is make dua and assign each tawaf. I'll make dua for 1 category of people. Understand? Right. And you can change it. Obviously, you don't have to make dua for yourself, and you can change it around also, right? But you should do it. Next, you cannot eat. Obviously, you cannot sit there and munch on burgers and like fries while you're doing tawaf, right? So no eating. You can drink zamzam. You can drink zamzam, and that way it's you don't get dehydrated or anything. But drink zamzam, and that's fine. And that is basically completing the tawaf. 7 times you do it. Make sure you count it. Don't forget it. Right. All right. After tawaf, post tawaf, what do? You pray 2 rak'at. Right. Another person called me. He said, from there, he's calling me. He's saying that I prayed my 2 rak'at, but I prayed in front of Maqam Ibrahim. How can you pray in front of Maqam Ibrahim? It's not possible to pray in front of Maqam Ibrahim. You know where Maqam Ibrahim is, right? For example, I'll go back to the picture, right? This is Maqam Ibrahim right here. How can you pray right here? It's not possible. But this person, he called me, he said, I prayed in front of Maqam Ibrahim. I said, okay, it's fine. It's technically fine anyways. But I explained that to him also, that pray your 2 rak'at. It's wajib to pray those 2 rak'at. You can pray anywhere in the mataf area. You can pray anywhere. Don't pray behind the woman. Please. Men, like, use your common sense. If you see women praying, don't pray behind them. Go somewhere else. Find an area where it's only men and pray there. Right? If you see women coming around and stuff, okay, whatever, leave it. But as much as possible, you should go to a place where there are only men around you. And don't pray where everyone is doing tawaf. Right? Again, be sensible. Use your logic. Go somewhere where you're not disturbing other people and pray. The same thing with women also. Unfortunately, women just, like, again, men and women just ran as soon as they get off. They're like, I'm gonna pray right here. No. The police also, they'll stop you. They say, why are you praying here? You have to pray somewhere. You have to go somewhere where it's not disturbing others, and so on. So you pray 2 rak'at. It's wajib. And then go and drink zamzam. Drink as much zamzam as you can. And then as you're leaving, before you leave the Kaaba, before you leave the mataf area, you do istilam again, right? You raise your hands towards the Kaaba and you kiss your palms. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and you go towards Sa'i. Okay? You go towards the Sa'i area. All right. Any questions? Now, I'll take questions about tawaf.
Dua also from Yamni to
And
Yes.
Yeah,
So basically from Ruknul Yamani, the last, basically from the from the Yamani corner to the Hajar Aswad, it's sunnah, not fard, not wajib. It's sunnah to recite رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Okay, so you don't have to do it, but it's good to do it. Why not? You know, with at least one time we say رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. You can make your other du'as as well, but it's sunnah. Yes.
It's mandatory to do the Alvida Tawaf, or
No, there's no Alvida Tawaf. Not in Umrah. In Umrah, there's no Alvida Tawaf.
like afterwards, like when we're leaving.
There's nothing. That's in Hajj. That's in Hajj.
And also when you're doing the Tawaf, you break your wudu.
Yes.
I was informed that if you are on your third or fourth, you have to start all over again, but if you're at X number, you can continue where you left off.
No, you can continue. Oops, sorry. You can continue on.
Like the first.
No, you can continue from the tawaf that you are on. From the circuit that you're on, you continue from that.
during the tawaf, can you take a look at the Kaaba or just keep making the tawaf?
So you should not turn towards, or you should not turn away from the Kaaba. Be very careful. Do not turn towards the Kaaba. Do not turn away from the Kaaba, except for the istilam at the end of each round. That's when you will look towards the Hajar Aswad. Other than that, you should not be like constantly walking parallel or looking at the Kaaba. No. You can turn your head, but don't turn your body. You can turn your head right, left, it's fine, but don't turn your body away from the Kaaba or towards the Kaaba. It's better to just walk normally and do tawaf normally around the Kaaba. If someone pushes you and stuff, let's say someone pushes you and you move away from the Kaaba, then just take a few steps back and then continue again. Okay? So if someone pushes you away from the Kaaba and your chest turns away from the Kaaba, then just take a few steps back and then continue, because you missed those couple steps of the Kaaba area.
So, assuming you already did your Umrah, you went back to Jeddah, and then you want to come back for a 5-day period. from an outside one to do the walk. The phone is planning ready.
Jeddah is not outside of Makkah, outside of Miqat. So you don't have to put ihram back on.
But if I'm supposed for like 5 days straight, then do I like each time I visit
If you enter the haram area, yes.
I have to like talk maybe.
For you have to do Umrah, yes.
No, not like talk, like just from going there for Friday.
If you're already within it, then no, you don't have to, you don't have to wear ihram or anything. But if you are coming from outside, then yes, you must wear ihram. Outside of the miqat, outside of Jeddah, for example. If you're inside Jeddah, within the miqat, you don't have to put ihram on to go pray salah in Masjid Haram.
Right, but if I go for the month, like Friday prayer, do you do tawaf after the prayer?
You don't have to, no, you don't have to do any tawaf. You don't have to. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. Any other questions? Yes, okay. Moving on. Sa'i. So it's wajib to do sa'i, right? It's wajib to do sa'i between Safa and Marwa, right? It's essentially 7 one-way trips. 7 one-way trips. I'll give you some tips at the end. After this, I'll give you a tip that I have. But it's 7 one-way trips. It starts from Safa, ends at Marwa. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, you end at Marwa. Okay? And you make dua on both hilltops. Both on Safa and Marwa, you make dua. Right? There's a lengthy dua in Arabic. If you want it, I can send it to you. It's La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah lahul mulku wa lahul hamd wa ala kulli shay'in qadir la ilaha illallah and so on. It's a bit lengthy. So if you want the dua, you can text me. I will send it to you, inshallah. This is the dua that you recite when you are on Safa. You recite this dua. Okay. But each time you go to each side, and this is very tiring. It's exhausting. Safa Marwa is more tiring than Tawaf. So just be ready for it. Okay. It's sunnah for men to run in the green light area. So look, you see this. Those who have been there, you know, right? The area where it's green light, it's sunnah, not fard, not wajib for men to run. Now, when you go there, you always see women running also. Women are not required. It's not sunnah for women to run. It is not sunnah for women to, rather it may be against the sunnah for women to run. Right? So therefore, men should run. If you are traveling with women, either you run and then you slow down and wait for them to join you, or just walk. You don't have to run. It's sunnah, but if you're traveling with women and others, don't run. It's better that you don't run. Okay? All right. During Sa'i, this is a long journey, right? So this will take you an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, right? So this is long. Or 1 hour to 2 hours, basically, right? Depending on how slow you are, right? Like for me, it takes longer, right? So have some dhikr, right? Have some common dhikr that you're going to recite. For example, the last hadith of Bukhari, right? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is the last hadith of Bukhari. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that there are 2 statements, very light on the tongue, but very heavy on the scales. And there, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah al-Azim. So we said that, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah, because you get very tired, like you can't even think. Your mind is so exhausted, you can't even think. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah al-Azim, just on autopilot, essentially. If you can't focus, you should focus, make dua, recite Quran. I've tried reciting Quran, it's so hard, it's very hard. But if you can do it, Bismillah, do it. You know, if you can recite Quran, if you're healthy, mashallah, unlike me, then you can do it, inshallah. Right? And then it's mustahab. Again, mustahab, not fard, not wajib. Mustahab to pray 2 rak'ats after you finish the sa'i. So you'll see many people at the end of it, they just move to the side and they pray in the corner, which is good. You should do that, right? And wudu is not necessary. You don't have to have wudu while you're doing sa'i. If you have it, it's good, but it's not necessary. And the breaks are allowed, but if you stop, you should continue from the same place, right? So you have to go to the bathroom. You can go to the bathroom, then continue from where you left off. Okay? And now I'll give you okay, we're going to get into haircut next. Haircut is next. Now, what many people do, unfortunately. So when I went there, even last year I went there, right? Last November I was there. When I went there, people were not doing haircuts at Marwa. But when I went in January this year, they were doing haircuts in Marwa. Like they're, and the cops are there. They're like, I mean, and they're charging for it. It's not like free. They're like, give us, come, I'll cut your hair. And some people, they think you must cut your hair. You do not have to cut your hair on Marwa. You do not have to cut your hair on Marwa. Understand this. Leave nicely, and then outside, go cut your hair outside. Okay, I'll explain. How much you should cut, I'll explain. But do not cut your hair on Marwa. I don't know why. People are like, I have to cut my hair. Relax. Leave and then go cut your hair. Now, this is one very important advice I have. After, alhamdulillah, going a few times, if you notice, the hotels that we generally stay at, they're closer to Safa, right? So if you come outside where Marwa is, so you have to walk all the way around and then get to your hotel. So my advice is go through Safa. So do an 8th circuit essentially. Do 8th circuit and then come out through Safa. It's right next to your hotel. It's much easier and your life will be a lot easier. This is my humble advice, right? And this is like based on experience. It's not sunnah or anything. This is just my advice. That do one more and then come out through Safa. It's much easier. Okay? Do you guys all understand this? It's not fard, not wajib, not sunnah. It's my sunnah. This is my advice. Moving on. Now there's some questions. Let's see. Is tawaf permissible in electric car on certain floor level? Okay. Listen, if you do not have an excuse, do not use the carts. There's some people, they're like joking, they're like playing with this. They're like doing like drifting on how they're drifting on the thing. Ajib. So please, if you have a genuine need, then yes, you can use the carts. Even if you have a genuine need, you should try to walk. If you cannot walk, then fine, get on the wheelchair. If you cannot get on the wheelchair, then fine, use electric carts. Right? My recommendation, don't take the electric car as the first option. Take it as the last option. When there's no other option, then you do the electric carts. Okay? Yes.
Are you allowed to take a break from Safa Marwa?
Yes.
3 run or 4 run?
Yes. I said right. I mean, you can take breaks. Breaks allowed. Right? Last point. Breaks are allowed. We start from the same spot, wherever you are. And then last question: can you make any dua in any language during this? Yes, you can make dua in any language. Even during tawaf, even during sa'i, you can make dua in any language. Okay. And it's better to make dua in the language that you are comfortable with. All right. Moving on. No other questions, yes? Haircut. We want to wrap up, inshallah. Haircut. Shaving is best. In a hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made dua for the people who shave their head 3 times. Right? He made dua for the people who shave their heads 3 times. Now, like many of us, mashallah, we're very attached to our hair, right? Including myself, right? Very attached. But the fact is that if you're doing like 2-3 umrahs, you have to cut like 1 inch. So either you shave or you trim. The trimming amount is 1 finger. According to our scholars, we say it's necessary to trim minimum of 1/4 of your head. You must trim a minimum of 1/4 of your head. Other scholars, they have other opinions. Our opinion is 1/4 of the head is minimum. So if you're trimming 1/4 of your head, or like basically up to the joint in your first finger, your index finger, the joint, that's how much essentially it is, right? If you're cutting that much, if you do 1 umrah, 2nd umrah, by the 3rd umrah, you're bald anyways, right? You're bald anyways. So my mashwara is just become bald from the beginning and then move on. If you're planning only to do 1 umrah, then up to you. But my recommendation, I'll explain my recommendation, what I recommend. But try to shave. Try to shave. You're going all the way there. And subhanAllah, I'll tell you, right? My first umrah, I was like, I'm going to shave, obviously. 2nd umrah, I said, I'm not going to shave. And then I shaved. 3rd umrah, I was like, I'm not going to shave. I shaved again. 4th umrah, same thing. I was like, I'm not going to shave. I shaved again. I'm talking about in the past 3-4 trips that I went on, alhamdulillah. Every single time, I'm like, I'm not going to shave. And I go there and I'm like, 3 du'as of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Why not? How can I abandon 3 du'as of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? And so then I end up shaving. And we just do it. It's sunnah, it's good, it's recommended. Do it. Shave your head.
Why shave? Do you know the
It's
history
sunnah.
of history? Yeah, it's sunnah, but what is the history?
Whatever the history, that's the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. No, I'm not here for exterior. I'm telling you it's a sunnah. That's bottom line. It is sunnah.
Yeah, yeah, but earlier when you have some, slave, when you make person a slave, they used to cut the hair.
These are logical reasonings. The reasoning that Sharia gives is sunnah. Logically, yes, maybe it's good for your hair also. It's good for your head, slaves, all these other things. But the bottom line is sunnah is to shave your head. And Nabi Sallallahu made dua for those who shave their head 3 times. And if you trim your head, if you trim, as I said, minimum of 1/4, that's you should trim.
Question, if you do not shave, that means your Umrah is not accepted?
I didn't say that.
No,
No,
I have a question that.
as I said,
Like wajib or.
as I said, you must shave. It's necessary. If you want to come out of ihram, you must shave or you must trim. So either you shave or you trim 1/4, or meaning one finger, the joint. So 1 inch, about 1 inch, essentially, you must trim. Okay.
Without that, your
Without that, you cannot come out of ihram. If you don't cut your hair, you are still in the state of ihram. You can give sadaqah until the day of judgment because you didn't cut your hair. So you have to cut your hair. Either you shave or you trim.
Because I have seen people over there, they have small scissors
Yes,
and they
right.
cut a small hair. If somebody have made mistake in the past, what he has to do to cover it.
So there is another opinion of Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i, he says you only need to trim a couple of hairs. It's only a couple of hairs. As I said, I know all of these opinions. The Hanafi madhab, we say that you must shave you must trim a minimum of how much?
1 inch.
1/4. 1/4 of your head. And how much must you cut? 1 inch. Right? So you must do that. According to our scholars, we say you must trim 1/4 of your head, and it must be a minimum of 1 inch. Okay, so you must do it. You can cut your own hair or someone else can cut your hair. It's not a big deal. Women also will cut 1 inch from their hair. Men, if they don't want to shave, they will trim 1 inch from their hair. All right. Now, miscellaneous, and then this is like last couple of slides. We'll finish off in the next couple of minutes. If a woman is in the state of hayd, she's in her menses, then she should, on the last day, because she traveled, she spent thousands of dollars, she's going there. Now, generally, the rule is you're not supposed to do it. The rule is you should not be doing tawaf if you are not in the halat of wudu. We spoke about this, right? If you're not in the state of wudu, you should not be doing tawaf. But a woman who's traveled all that distance and she's on her monthly period, generally women should take the pills, whatever pills are necessary, and they should delay the period. But if that's not possible, then and they have their periods at that time, what they should do is they should at the last day just go for Umrah. I mean, the last day blood has not stopped, then go for Umrah and then give dam, meaning give a bigger animal in sadaqah, meaning you have to sacrifice a bigger animal. So this is a specific mas'ala for women who are not able to take pills and who are not able to delay the period and they have their periods.
It's okay to take pills.
Yes, it's okay to take pills. To delay the period, it's okay to do it. And then my recommendation is to do multiple umrahs. Now here's my recommendation. Some people, what they do is, they do one umrah, and after that, they just do tawaf, right? My recommendation is, listen, you're going all the way there. Do multiple umrahs, if you can. If Allah Ta'ala has given you the ability, do multiple umrahs. If you're staying 4 or 5 days, please don't do one umrah. Do 2, 3, 4. If you can, every day do one umrah. My recommendation is every single night, try to do one umrah. If you get very exhausted, don't do it. But if you have the strength, you have the ability, do multiple umrahs. How? Every single night, as I said, go to sleep right after Isha. Immediately after that, sleep for 3 hours at night time. Then get up around 12, 1 o'clock. Go to Masjid Aisha. Come back and then start your tawaf by 2 o'clock. Finish before Fajr. After Fajr, have some food and everything. And then go to sleep. Sleep until like few hours. And then Dhuhr and everything else. Continue worshipping Allah Ta'ala. Throughout the day, read Quran. Throughout the day, do dhikr, do other things. But at night time, you do your umrah and you do your tawaf. Some people, they do their tawaf during the day and they're so tired, they cannot do umrah at night time. Right? So my recommendation is do your umrah at night time, leave everything else.
And you still have to do Safa Marwa.
Yes, yes, yes.
Another thing,
Right.
in Medina, when there is a mosque, if you pray full nafil over there, it's also equivalent to the.
Yeah. That's Masjid Quba Masjid. That's the difference.
Uh, can you do the Umrah for the deceased parents or?
Yes. Yes, you can do Umrah for the people who passed away. People who are alive even. You can also do Umrah for those who are alive. According to us, we say you can do Umrah for those who are passed away and those who are alive. You can do Umrah for everyone. Inshallah. Okay? So I also mentioned landing in Jeddah and then you go to Medina. I mentioned this already. If you can go to Medina directly and then after that go to Makkah. I mentioned this already. This is a nice summary. This is very important. There's a summary of the entire Umrah. Take a picture, whatever you need to do, memorize this. This is very important. Summary of the entire Umrah. The ghusl for Ihram is Sunnah. The 2 rak'at before Ihram, Sunnah. Ihram with intention and talbiyah, this is Fard. Okay? Tawaf is Fard. 2 rak'at after Tawaf is Wajib. Sa'i is Wajib. Halaq or Qasr, meaning shaving or trimming, is also Wajib. This is very important. And take your pictures, take your screenshots, whatever you need to do. I'm not going to be. One second. One second. I don't know how to move this thing. All right, okay. Anyways, so this is the summary of. Oops, going back. This is a summary of the entire Umrah. That the 7 things. So the ghusl for Ihram is Sunnah. The 2 rak'at before Ihram, Sunnah. Ihram with intention and talbiyah, Fard. Tawaf is Fard. 2 rak'at after Tawaf is Wajib. Sa'i is Wajib. And then Halaq or Qasr is Wajib.
There is a difference further than wajib.
Yes, of course.
Exactly.
Fard and Wajib are minute difference, according to us. Other scholars, Shafi'i scholars, they don't have a difference.
Can say for mandatory.
All right, so general advices. Here are my general advices. Let's finish off quickly. General advices, my recommendation, if you're going, you have 1 week, sometimes you have 10 days, some of us we have 15, 17 days. My recommendation, finish at least 1 Quran. At least 1 Quran you should finish in this time, right? And the way to do it is a Hafiz al-Quran should finish multiple, right? Even non-Hafiz, you can do like 3 to 4 juz a day. It takes maybe like, let's say it takes you 1 hour to do 1 juz. It takes 3 hours, sit there with Quran from, excuse me, from Asr to Maghrib, for example, or Maghrib to Isha. We sit there with Quran. The entire time read Quran and finish 1 khatam of Quran at least minimum.
Okay, that's more, I guess.
Of course, as I said, of course, right? But you should finish minimum at least 1 khatam of Quran. If you can, you should finish more.
One question.
Ji.
Sometime, let's say you just arrived from Jeddah to the hotel. And like you said, you are tired and you just taking a couple of hours. So in the meantime, there's a Azan. So can you do the salah in the hotel? It should be considered you're still within the limit of haram.
The only time you're allowed to pray in the hotel is when the people are so much, for example, in Hajj, when they extend all the way past your hotel or including your hotel. Otherwise, you are not allowed to pray in the hotel. Listen, hotel salah is not the same as the masjid. Why would you pray inside the hotel when the masjid is right there? Take 5 minutes, walk to the masjid, and then pray there. Please do not pray in the hotel unless it's necessary. There are many people, they're inside the shops, they'll put down their musalla, they'll pray right there. The Kaaba is right in front of you. Kaaba is 5 minutes. Even the courtyard, the sahan of the Kaaba is right there. That's still part of the masjid, by the way, right? The sahan, the courtyard, that's still part of the masjid. So you have that right there. And yet people, they pray in the hotel. They, oh, subhanAllah. right. Sorry for that. Let's finish up quickly. Right, so then, as much as Quran as you can read, try to finish it, inshallah. Send as much dhikr as you can, and salawat and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam as much as you can. Try to do that. As I said, pray all of your salawat in the masjid. Please don't pray in the hotel. Please don't pray anywhere else. Try to pray as much as you can in Mecca, Medina, wherever you are. Pray in the haram. Okay. Take Umrah booklets with you. Right? If you have a booklet for Umrah, you can take it with you. If you don't have one, you can ask me. I will give you one, inshallah. If you don't have a Umrah booklet, I will give it to you, inshallah. But just ask me, inshallah. I will give it to you, inshallah. Also, lastly, consult with scholars. Ask scholars. Don't feel shy. Even people who ask me questions, even though if it's silly questions, I don't make fun of. I don't mock people, and I don't say their names. Right. So therefore, feel free. Anytime you have any questions, you can ask me, inshallah. You can text me, call me, inshallah. Or you can ask any other scholars. You can ask whichever scholars you are comfortable with. You can ask them. And they will tell you, inshallah, whatever you need to know. So benefits, of course, you're praying in a piece of the Jannah, right? You're praying in a piece that's from Jannah. That's very, very, very important. Very important. Also, you should book your appointments for the Riyadul Jannah. You should book it in advance. Otherwise, you will not get a slot. So many people, they're going and coming back, and they're saying we did not get the opportunity to visit Riyadul Jannah, right? So please make sure as soon as you can, as soon as you get to Saudi, for example, you should start booking. Sometimes they don't allow you to do weeks in advance. That's why you do it as soon as you can. As soon as the opportunity is available, you book it. Okay? About Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there's so much to speak about, but this is basically it. One hadith I'll mention, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says that the one who comes to visit me, man zara qabri wajabat lahu shafa'ati, the one who visits me, visits my grave, my shafa'ah, my intercession is wajib for those people. So we should want to be amongst those people who get the intercession of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and visit his grave if you can, inshallah. And last advice is that when you go there, don't spend too much time buying, don't spend too much time shopping. You will do it, you will buy, obviously. No one is saying not to buy, but spend less time. Don't spend all your time. Unfortunately, a lot of us, we go there, we spend a lot of time doing useless things. Please spend as less time as possible, wasting it in doing other things that are not productive. So please make sure you are spending your time productively. Spend as less time outside of the masjid. Spend as much time as you can in the masjid. Recite Quran, do dhikr, encourage one another as well. And also at the same time, when you do go there, try to let your friends and family know that, listen, don't bother me at this time. You know, this I'm going to Umrah. Please don't bother me. And try to turn off notifications and turn off your useless apps. Delete social media, whatever is going to distract you. Delete it. Delete TikTok, whatever it is you have. Delete all of it, and don't waste your time as much as you can. Don't waste your time while you're there, inshallah. Don't spend the entire time taking videos. So many of us, we go there, and the entire time we're taking videos. Again, one is like, you take one or two videos, it's fine. But the other is like, you know, sometimes you go there and you see people there holding their phone very high. And what are they doing? Some guy in some part of the world, he's in his bed, and he's like, you see the guy asleep, he's in his bed, and he's like watching the Kaaba, he's watching Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's like, it doesn't look good. If you want to take a video, take one quick video and then move on. But don't make it an entire, you're not a YouTuber, you're going to take videos. You can take one for your remembrance and then stop. Don't take so many videos. Don't keep taking, your entire focus should not be videos and pictures. Rather, you take one or two, move on. After that, move on. But don't spend too much time on that. Yes.
Brother mentioned to make an appointment to go to Riyadh Jannah. There's the app you have to download.
Yes. You have to download all the apps, the Nusuk app. You download all the apps necessary. If you're going with travel agency, the travel agency will tell you. Otherwise, if you're going by yourself, then once you get into Saudi, ask them and they will help you with the app, inshallah, as well.
Another thing I heard in Makkah, they're only allowed to go to Kaaba if you are wearing a
Yeah, right.
You have to go upstairs.
Yes. So you're only allowed to enter the Mataf area if you're wearing your ihram. So try not to cheat. No, like, okay, now wear ihram and go there. No, as I said, if you go for Umrah every night, it's great. You can see the Kaaba, you can pray in that area every single night. And you're not going to be lying, So don't lie, don't cheat. You're putting the ihram on and going, and we don't do that. Right? Muslims are not deceitful people. We should not deceive other people. Right? And then, of course, when you're there, make dua for everyone. Please make dua for us as well. Make dua for me. Make dua for our community. Make dua that the masjid, everything is resolved, inshallah. Whatever issues that we have, any sicknesses, the people of Gaza, all of these, make dua for everyone, inshallah. Whichever dua you make, Allah will answer it. Allah will answer it. So therefore, please be very focused in your du'as. Spend as much time as you can making dua. Don't spend that much time wasting it and doing other things. Spend as much time as you can in the ibadah of Allah Ta'ala. Any final questions?
Women can go anytime to do the Umrah. You can have a haram.
Questions only, please. Questions?
The process of landing Jeddah and going to Medina. When do you do that now?
When you're coming from Medina to Makkah.
From Medina.
Yes.
There's a one question. So when you come from Medina, right? And there's a mosque called the Bir Ali or something, like outside of the Medina that you go and make the intention for the Umrah. People who's traveling through the train, the Haramain train, what are they going to do?
Do it from the hotel. You don't need to stop at the masjid. Just do it from the hotel, make the intention, shower at the hotel, shower nicely. And by the way, before you wear ihram, you can put cologne on. Put cologne on before you put the clothes of ihram. After that, you cannot put, but before you can. So you can put on cologne, deodorant, whatever it is, and then you can start. What do you call it? You can start the journey of ihram, and then you put the ihram on. That's okay. You don't need to stop. If you're taking the train, take the train. Bismillah. Do it from hotel and then move on.
So for Medina, you don't have to go to the Miqat section.
No, you don't need to stop anywhere. Any other questions? Okay, all right. Inshallah, that concludes our presentation. Inshallah, make dua that Allah Ta'ala accepts it, and make dua that Allah Ta'ala grants us the tawfiq to visit the Haramain Sharifain repeatedly over and over. Ameen. Jazakumullah.